So one of the things that fucks up so many athletes is actually, performing during a competition. How much of that energy that they put in before that the competition is actually useless, or doesn't actually perform during the game. So today I'm gonna just break down three simple way in order to enter in flow state in competition and maximize your performance. So the first thing that I just want to talk about you is a misconception is about hyping up, right? So a lot of people and a lot of athletes thinks that before something special during the game, you gotta have that kind of adrenaline that keep up in your body and you smash everybody. But at the end of the day, you have to think about what adrenaline actually is, and it's simply a neurotransmitter that help us being aware of you know of being danger. So it's actually something that backs up really a lot of athletes. And how, like, what can be the inputs? Music, there's nothing wrong with that, but not during the competition, right? You need to eliminate as many things as possible in order to keep your body, mind, and especially your mind sharp, right? So the second thing is about assess potential, right? What I mean by so is that all the pressure or the internal desire that the athlete sets before a competition. If you have a specific goal that all comes down to a number, right? You want to win a competition, you want to make top 8, wherever it is, or with your team, right? It simply cannot be something that feels too much too heavy for you, right? There's nothing wrong with setting goals that are specific on that thing. The thing is about the perception that you have inside of you, the thing that make me too much anxious and that doesn't allow you to perform, right? There's a good combination between the amount of boredom that we gotta have, and actually the kind of fear, the kind of anxiety that we kind of have so during a game, a competition, right? So the perfect number, the perfect thing would be something in the middle. So it's actually called the Yerkes-Dawson law, and this is actually the perfect sweet spot in order to perform at your best, right? It's not about leaving on the table all the things, all your worries. That is good. It's a sign that your body is actually listening to you, that you feel the perception of the competition, right? Without that, it's very unlikely that you know you're gonna win if other people on the same game have the feeling, right? But at the same time, too much of that will completely destroy your performance. Something in the middle always. So, the second point is about the locker room. So what I mean by so is that your body and your mind have to feel the sense of the kind of feeling of competition that you are having. It's not the same of practicing. You are going to do something that you are not used to, right? So the first thing in order to achieve this kind of state is actually as I was saying before, clearing the load. So right, you probably have feeling anxious, or it can be anything, but if it's anything, there's something wrong, right? So what I mean by clearing the load is actually in a very practical way, writing in a piece of paper your thoughts, right? So that's the most simple way in order to do that. It can be literally 3 sentences, 5 sentences, but at least you leave the print on what you're feeling in the moment, or what actually are you feeling. What's the worst thing that could happen if if you don't achieve the goals? This is something that of course you have to practice before, but if you feel like that you're too anxious, just write 3 sentences and just practice and warm up what you have to do. That's the simple and the most practical way that at least I found out, and the best athletes in the world multi-Olympic champion, I asked them, and they kind of have this method. So the second thing is, about the sensory, right? So the somatic reset. In order to feel that we are doing something that our mind is feeling that we really need to perform, we actually need to get what we are coming from, is actually using our sensory, our smell, our hear, everything that kind of can remind us what we have to get gone through to get the competition, right? So it can actually be not just in the real stuff, like smelling thing that usually do it before a competition, like rituals. What I mean by so is rituals, right? Very simple stuff that you do before and that actually activate that thing that can make you level up during the competition. But also in the visualization part, right? Visualize, very simple. It can be 3 minutes, 5 minutes, very simple, right? Where you actually feel everything around you and everything that you want from the output of your competition. So starting from your body, how does it move? How does it how do you feel the weight of your weight of your foot, of of your arms, wherever it is? Yes, the smell, the same thing, the eyes, same thing. So the more vivid the thing is, the more specific and the more easier it's gonna be that you actually end up performing. So that's actually concise in the third part, that is the sensory, right? So the last thing I just want to talk about you is how do you maintain this kind of flow state, right? This seems this seems difficult, at the end of the day you can just by doing one thing, like removing the excess potential or clearing the log, you actually get the most benefit, the 80% of the benefits, right? So these one are, I would say, the most important, right? So excess potential and clearing the load, right? Also the visualization part, as a few minutes, and how do you maintain it during the competition, right? Because it's not just about sports that requires just a few minutes. Maybe some competition that judo, fencing, wherever it is, can actually take 12 hours of your day, or even more, or whatever it is. Yes, multiple days, weeks, football matches. There's tons of things that actually can happen, right? So you always have to maintain a good balance between challenge and skill, right? So there's nothing wrong with as we before, setting goals that are numerical, like I want to make that kind of score, or this or that. And that's why it's so much important to challenge yourself during the competition, right? I want to make 30 points, I want to help my team defend the most. That's the most important thing, right? And at the same time, balance with that with your skill, right? So right, it gotta be a balance. We don't like imbalances between challenge and skill. We don't like this. It actually have to be a balance between what you are capable of actually. So your previous history, whatever it is that remind you skill, and the challenge that, so what are you challenging from this competition? What do you want, right? So the second thing is about the snap at anchor, and it may sound a little bit more complex than what it is, but it actually is a little action that you do before you start entering the flow state. Like it could be adjusting your grip, putting tape on your fingers, wherever it is. Have something that you wear, whatever ritual that make you get in a cycle again, right? Of recovery and flow state is actually the best. And so basically the last part is focusing on what actually you can control, right? So focusing on actions, no scoreboard, right? There's a famous quote of Michael Jordan, MJ, where he actually says, spirit no scoreboard. And what he meant by so is that the feeling that you have, the energy that you put in during the game is much more important than, at the end of the day, the scoreboard, the number that you see on the display. So yeah, spirit, no scoreboard, whatever it may be, right? It's not about just the technical thing. It's also about the communication that you have with your coaches, with your teammates, and the emotion that you are gonna transmit during that, right? Because that's not all about, right? It's not about just about the technical stuff. It's all about the mental. You see, that's the technical stuff is, I would say, easily 20% stuff. The other remaining part is mentally 80%, right? And that's for today. I really hope and feel that you get something valuable from it and can apply in your performance. And as I was saying before, if I would choose just one thing from everything, so assess potential, clearing the load, and focusing on actions and no scoreboard, right? Spirit, no scoreboard. These three things, we actually improve a lot of your performance by default. And see you on the next one.